Hi, I'm the Smokin Elk, and today we are smoking up some gorgeous St. Louis style spare ribs. Oh yes, we have a bit of a treat today. We have these beautiful St. Louis style spare ribs. These are from Mark Burley from Bob's Family Butchers. Really great guy, does a lot of really great barbecue cuts. If you're looking for somewhere to get your barbecue cuts from, things like brisket, baby back ribs, St. Louis ribs, pork butts, American style pork butts, all the kind of any barbecue cuts that you would associate with American barbecue, and of course British barbecue, Mark Burley from Bob's Family Butchers has you covered. I mean, these are premium St. Louis style spare ribs. So they've already been trimmed to the St. Louis style. Saves a lot of the hassle of trimming the ribs. Lovely and meaty. I mean, just look at how meaty these are. A lot of fat running through that meat. We've got 2 racks of these, and I cannot wait to get them in the Kamado Joe. The first thing we want to do is remove the membrane on the back of these ribs. It's just pretty straightforward. So take yourself a butter knife and get that under the membrane. Start to pull it up away from the meat, and then if you can get a good grip, you should be able to just lift that membrane like so. That's the ribs. Like I said, they're fantastic St. Louis style spare ribs from Bob's Family Butchers. They've already been trimmed pretty much to perfection. There's not a lot you need to do with these, just remove the membrane. So we're going to start building some flavours. Now on the first rack we're going to use Sriracha for the binder. So just going to squirt that over the bone end. Rub that in. Don't have to be excessive, just enough to let the rub stick. Make sure you cover the sides as well. Then again, flip that over, and more Sriracha. So Sriracha as the binder. So next, honey and chili rub from Angus and Oink. Beautiful rub, perfect for pork and chicken. Oh, you know this is going to be good. And you want to get it on the ends, all over the bone side of these ribs, and then we're going to flip and do the same again. So generous coating all over like so. So that's 1 rack done with Sriracha and honey and chili rub. So rack number 2, we use mustard as the binder, and next we put the Bowers barbecue rub to one of these shakers, and with a bit of salt. So this is apple sugar, black pepper and salt. I don't know what other secret ingredients are in there, but it does smell good. So again, just as we did with the honey and chili, we're just going to coat that liberally over these ribs. That's the ribs rubbed. What we're going to do is we're going to pop these back in the fridge for an hour, uncovered. And that's just going to allow the rub to settle into the ribs, adhere to the ribs, and then we're going to go ahead, going to set up the Kamado Joe Classic 3 for this cook. So for this cook, we're using the Kamado Joe Classic 3 with the Slo-roller attachment. Got a fire basket, almost full of charcoal. We've got 4 chunks of cherry in there. I'm just going to pop the Slo-roller in, pop the divide and conquer cooking system in, and we're going to have the grates on the top level because we want to keep the ribs as far away from the fire as possible. And we're just going to bring that up to temperature. Today we're going to be cooking at about 225 to 250. So Kamado Joe Classic is up to temperature. We're at 225. So we've gone ahead, put the ribs in, got the honey and chili, and we've got the apple sugar and black pepper. So we're going to sit those in there for 3 hours, and then we're going to come back, see how we're getting on, and we're going to wrap. So see you in 3 hours. Okay, so we are exactly 3 hours in. We've not touched The lid, we've not opened the lid, we've not had a peek. We've been dialed in, what are we, 2:30, absolutely perfect. So 3 hours in, and here is how we're looking. Looking absolutely fantastic, and the smell. Let's get in and take a closer look. Nice bit of bark sitting there on the honey and chili ribs. And then we move over to the apple sugar and black pepper, and again, lovely bit of bark there. Things got a bit steamy there. So apple sugar and black pepper, again, lovely bark on those ribs. The smell is incredible coming from this. I mean, just check them out. So like I said, we're 3 hours in. Today we're going to be using the Texas Crutch method. Most of you will be aware of what that is, but for those of you that aren't, what we're going to do now is we're going to take these out. We're going to wrap them tightly in foil. On the honey and chili ribs, we are going to put some honey and some fizzy orange, because we're going to be putting an orange chili sauce on there later as well. So we're trying to blend the flavours, marry the flavours. So this is going to have some honey and some fizzy orange. On the apple sugar and black pepper, we're just going to be putting some brown sugar and some apple juice. So let's show you how we do the Texas Crutch, how we wrap them in the foil, and then we're going to get them back in for another couple of hours. So the Texas Crutch foil, heavy duty foil that we folded in half. So for the honey and chili ribs, we're going to put some honey on the foil. This is where the ribs are going to sit. So we've got honey on the foil, we've got the ribs, and we're going to put them meat side down onto that honey. That honey is going to add another dimension of flavour into the meat. Then all we're going to do is bring the foil up and around the edges, like so, and then a bit of fizzy orange. Doesn't have to be fizzy orange, but I feel we're going for honey and chili, and then we've got an orange and chili sauce, so we're sticking with a honey, orange and chili theme. So we're just going to pour some of that into the foil, and what this is going to do when we wrap, this is going to help to tenderise those ribs further, results in a slightly quicker cooking time, because we want to be eating these for dinner time. So there's about, I'd say about 70-80 ml of juice in there, and then we want to tip that up so it's locked in. Bring the foil around those ribs, and there we go. Wrap that tightly around the ribs, and they are good to go. We're going to go for one more layer of foil, again folded over, and you want them wrapped nice and tight, just like that. Now for the apple and pepper ones, where we're going to be using an apple and whiskey sauce to glaze. Instead of honey, we're going to go in with some brown sugar, and similar to what we did with the honey, we're just going to create a layer for the ribs to sit on. Here's the ribs, and again, meat side down onto that sugar, and again, and foil up. This rack's slightly bigger, so we're going to have to wrap these again, maybe a couple of times. And this time we're just going to go in with some apple juice, sticking with the flavour profile that we've already started to build onto these ribs. These are going to go back in for another 2 hours. By that time they should be nice and tender. Then we're going to bring them out, we're going to unwrap, and we're going to start building the glaze for the final hour of cooking. So see you again in 2 hours, guys. So the ribs have been in the foil for 2 hours, so we've had 3 hours with the smoke, 2 hours in the foil. Almost time to unwrap, but before we do, we're going to make the glaze. So 2 different glazes, so 2 different bowls. And what we're going to do is just melt some butter in each of those bowls. And once that butter's melted, we're going to mix that, one of them with this 5 Monkeys orange chili sauce, and one of them with this Smokin Yankees Belfast apple and whiskey barbecue sauce. So the butter is melting. So like I said, one of them is going to get this 5 Monkeys orange and chili sauce. So in we go with that. For the glaze, and then the other one, apple and whiskey barbecue sauce for Smokin Yankees Belfast. So in that goes into the other pot. So that's our glazes. Just give that a stir with the butter. So that's the glazes done, looking good. So we're just going to pop those off a second. So these are the honey and chili, and you don't want to waste any of this juice. We're going to put that into the pot with the glaze. So there's your ribs. You got your honey and chili on the left, apple sugar, black pepper on the right. So here's the orange chili barbecue glaze, and we're just going to start spooning that over to add the last layer of flavour, and of course to make them look pretty. And then the same with the apple and whiskey base sauce glaze. I'm going to just spoon that over. It's just ridiculous. I'm going to have a messy Slo-roller to deal with tomorrow, but we don't care. We'll worry about that tomorrow. So again, spoon that on and just brush that all over. Lid down, and we're going to come back and repeat that every 15 minutes for the next 45 minutes. We are done. These are good enough to eat, so we're going to go ahead, get them on the board, slice them up and dig in. That's the ribs done. 3 hours in the smoke, 2 hours in foil, 45 minutes with the glaze. It's freezing out here. I want to dig into these, slice them up, have a taste, get inside and tuck in. So let's start by slicing them up. Honey and chili at the front, apple, sugar and pepper at the back. Ooh, so which ones should we slice first? So this one is the apple sugar and lemon pepper, finished off with the apple and whiskey sauce. Really beautiful and moist, fall off the bone. Not everybody likes them to fall off the bone. Me and the missus do. Amazing taste. Really get that apple and pepper flavour coming through, and with that whiskey glaze on there, just finishes it off. That is a beautiful rib. Next up, Angus and Oink honey and chili rub, finished with the 5 Monkeys orange and chili barbecue sauce glaze. Let's go ahead and find a rib and slice right in. Can't tell me that does not look pretty damn amazing. Like I said, these ribs, proper meaty St. Louis ribs from Bob's Family Butchers. If you're after ribs, there are no better. Just gonna have to dig in. Wow, that is amazing. You are not gonna find much better flavour than that on ribs. Just a slight tinge of chilli, plenty of honey running through it, and that orange and chilli sauce to finish it off. Really does round off a perfect rib. Nice smokiness to it. I think This is an absolute winning combination. So I'm going to go away and slice these up. Saturday night, freezing my tits off out here. So I'm going to get indoors and dig in to a rib fest. Happy days.